You're not happy because your life doesn't flow. You lack moments of growth, you seek too much comfort, and therefore now your life is bland. And it's like we're waiting for something external, whether that's a person, whether that's an opportunity, to change that. But that's not how it works. People always say it's about the journey, not the destination. But if you really believe that, if you really understood that, then you wouldn't continue to live the life that you're living right now. We're longing and hoping for a life of fulfillment, but we're waiting for the perfect time, the perfect condition, the perfect opportunities to actually start trying to obtain that life. But fulfillment is obtained today. Contentment is shown in what we do today. Happiness is in the little things that we do today. And none of these things can happen without flow. But what is flow? How and when can we implement it? What does it look like to live a life that is filled with flow? And how does that impact us in terms of our happiness, being fulfilled, or just being content in this life? Flow is the headspace you're in when you're so immersed in the task that you're doing that nothing else matters until you've completed it. It is the perfect combination between your skills and the challenge that you face. It is also very clear as to what the objective is and what it looks like when you've completed it. You know you've experienced it if you notice that time moves very quickly during these periods. It is easy to see in the things that you love. If you love to play sports, cooking, making music. For example, if you play ping pong, the goal is to get to 21 before the other guy. And so you're so immersed and nothing else matters until you've achieved that goal. When it comes to sports, for example, it doesn't matter if you're a beginner or if you're a professional. As a beginner, you may say to yourself, okay, like all I care about is getting the ball over the net. But then once you get better, once you get more experience, maybe now the goal is I want to finesse, put my backspin. I want to be a bit more tactical and intentional with how I get the ball over the net. Flow can also be seen in things that you might not like, chores, studying, or certain tasks at work. But regardless of if you like the situation or not, if you are in a flow state, the feelings of engagement and accomplishment at the end of that flow state still works for both situations. So if you learn to appreciate all moments of flow, whether you're fond of the situation or not, that could be the difference between dissatisfaction and contentment. You like sports, but you don't play enough of it. You like to make music, but you haven't given yourself enough time to actually make it. Or you love to cook, but cooking is too out of routine for you, so you never try to learn any new dishes. If you don't push yourself to face new challenges, you never grow. You become stale, stuck, and unengaged. Life becomes uninspired, and unhappiness settles in. But even if you did these things, they only account for a short amount of time in your life. What about the other 12 to 16 hours of your life where you may not be doing activities that you love so much? Life is filled with so many opportunities of flow, and we go through it and we grow from it. But because of the situation that it presents itself to, you don't really appreciate it. There are so many moments of focus and dedication that came during school, but maybe the stress of graduating and the stress of success never gave you the opportunity to appreciate those moments of hard work. Maybe there's a task at work that kept you engaged, but because we have to go to work to survive, it's really hard to appreciate what we actually do there. Or the grit you use to clean up your house. But if you grew up being forced to clean up your house, then you feel a type of way about having to do it on your own time now, and you can't really appreciate it because of that. But it's the lack of acknowledgement of the flow in our lives that revokes any opportunity for us to be happy and appreciate the things that we do. As overused as the statement is, the idea of turning I have to do something to I get to do something is a very effective way of improving your life. Not because your life changed in any way, but simply because of how your mentality has shifted. The book Flow talks about a study that concluded that people reported higher levels of engagement and accomplishment during working hours and lower levels of engagement during leisure time. But those same people would rather spend more time chilling and relaxing, which makes sense until you also hear that they reported lower levels of satisfaction and they're very unhappy during these leisure times. This is a very paradoxical idea because we want more time to chill, but we're less engaged and unhappy when we do have that time. And we want to work less, but feelings of engagement and accomplishment are higher during these periods of our lives. It is because of this inconsistent thinking that we're very dreadful of our lives. We're only engaged in the work that we do during a time period where we're not too happy to be there. And so therefore we're so focused on getting out. But then we finally get out of work and we spend our time doing nothing engaging and just end up wasting it. And it leads to us still being unfulfilled and unhappy. We don't do any flow-inducing activities after work, and the flow-inducing activities that we do during work aren't appreciated. So what do? It starts with appreciating the little things we do in this life. After doing an engaging task at work, be proud of what you've done and just sitting there. Let that dose of serotonin kick in and just sit back and just try to appreciate the good that you feel about yourself. After cleaning, cooking, or whatever takes a moderate level of focus, just take the time to appreciate the food you've made, to appreciate the clean space, or whatever you've achieved. Just take the time to just sit there and be proud of it. And it could be the smallest thing. If you just decided to make your bed, just look at the bed and just be proud that that's what you did and you took the time and the focus to get it done. It doesn't have to be these grand gestures. It just has to be something that made you focus, that just kind of kept you in the zone, and you can just kind of appreciate it later. But most importantly, try to also seek more engaging, flow-inducing activities. Try to read more, play more, keep your mind active, doing things and learning new skills that you maybe didn't feel like you had the energy or time to do so. Now, I understand that not everyone can have a job where there's anything engaging about it at all. For the whole entire period there, you're just not happy. There's no growth that comes with it. There's no task that can move you. I understand there's also people that may not be able to have flow-inducing activities at work due to the stress that they feel or the people that work with them. And for those people, I really sympathize with them because it's a lot harder to try and implement flow into a situation that's already against you. But if you're in that situation, then finding flow activities outside of work is even more crucial than ever. There's this misconception that after working a brutal day or a stressful or mundane day of work, that you cannot put in additional energy into your life, that you have to chill and relax because of how brutal the day was. The idea of putting in additional energy into learning something or moving your body or trying to build your mind is something that just seems exhausting. But I believe that the energy you put into something like work that you may not care about and putting in energy into something that you want to learn from and you want to grow from is two different kinds of energy. It's not really the same. When you put this type of energy that you want to better yourself into yourself, that energy comes out of you as well. This energy moves you, it inspires you, it takes you from one flow-inducing activity to the next. It really all comes together, it really flows together. The happiest people we see tend to live a life where they're just so immersed in one flow activity and they move on to the next, move on to the next, and their life is just back to back to back to back flow-induced activities. And I know for a lot of us, we may not get that type of lifestyle. We may not have the opportunity to be in these flow-induced mindset 24/7. But for whatever time that we do have, it really is important that we're seeking to try and build ourselves, to build our skills, to build our mind, to build our bodies, anything that kind of keeps us immersed in these activities and in the end leads to growth. And then after doing that, with whatever time you have, learn to appreciate those moments. Appreciate it, live a life that kind of fills you with growth, and hopefully happiness will follow.